When I truly think about it, I'm not always the person that is optimistic, and I'm not always the person who is looking for a solution. I've had to actively train myself to shift and move my perspective because naturally I'm just a person who is quite emotional, and I really appreciate the value of sitting in my emotions. But as I've got older and there's less room, less time for really just like wallowing, sulking, and not looking to like progress forwards, I've had to be very, very intentional and clear about how I shift my perspective. So in this video today, I'm going to tell you the tips that I've used to change my perspective, to help me be a lot more optimistic, a lot more proactive, and less reactive in different life situations. So stay tuned if you want to know how to do the same. So I'm one of the people that when life used to do me, as in setbacks, situations, scenarios, whatever the case would be, my immediate action would be to be emotional. I would take time, I would soak it all in, and I would really stay there to the point where it caused a number of and series of different depressive episodes, and something that I have to be extremely mindful about nowadays, because if I see the patterns where I am entering into that depressive state, then I have to be very, very intentional about staying clear, because I know the amount of bounce back energy it's going to take from me. So one of the things that I've used to really reframe my perspective is actually taking time to be conscious of the words that I'm saying. What am I speaking about myself? And what are the words that I am using to describe the situation that has happened to me, or a situation that I'm part of? Those words are especially important because it frames how your mind is going to deal with it. We're oftentimes thinking about our fight and flight, and our fight and flight can be activated and triggered by our words. So if I look at a scenario and I really frame it in a negative way, my body, which wants to survive, will naturally look for an opportunity to escape. However, if I reframe it in another way and I use different terminology and I'm more kind of like demonstrating resilience towards a matter, then my body is more likely to push through and fight. And as you get older, you're going to learn that you need to fight quite a bit. So reframing my words and the way I communicate things and the way that I acknowledge situations has been really, really important in transforming the way that I see things, and has actually allowed me to look for solutions, walk in solutions and approach solutions a lot stronger, a lot firmer, and be resilient throughout the process of overcoming. The second one is looking at it from a different way. And you're probably thinking, duh, you just said we're changing our perspective. But yeah, when we look at the cup half full, half empty kind of approach, that's a really serious thing. As in, I'm genuinely the person that can look at things as half empty. I only do this to myself though, and this whole conversation, I've learned that I can be solution based and focused for other people, but I can't do it for myself. So when I'm going through something, I see the cup as empty. Even half empty is empty to me, because I'm just like, there's so much missing. And framing my mind that this is half full and there's an opportunity to pour more into this has really been a game changer for me. So for example, during different transitions and seasons in my life, I can really get caught up on it's not going to get better. This is just how it's going to be for me. And I've had to actively consider that this is not the be all end all. There are still things within my hands, within my capabilities, and within my skills that would allow me to really progress and make some real changes and differences in the areas that I am bothered by. So seeing the cup as half empty will keep me in a state that doesn't allow me to progress, doesn't allow me to activate the skills and talents and whatever it is that I have to be able to change this, but rather it will keep me in a space that's just like, this is all that it's ever going to be. And you see this especially when it comes to the conversation about money. When people talk about a rich mindset, poor mindset, wealth mindset, all of those things, it is a similar analogy to the cup being half full, half empty. However you perceive a thing is how you are going to respond and act. So if you feel like your situation cannot change, you will not do anything to change. So it's important to look at the cup as full and with ample opportunity to pour more into it. The next one I have is that I've spent a lot of time being very honest and very real with myself. And I've said this in other videos, you are going to have to get to a point in life where you acknowledge that the skills and the talents and the resources you need to change your situation, you already have. Point blank, period. And I think that sometimes it's hard to see that, because obviously we've gone through an education system that's told us to do things one way. We go into the working world where things are very uniform, very binary, very strict, very in a box. And then life will throw you some sort of loophole and you need to figure out how to work outside the box. The trap is that you spent your time trying to fit into this box. So you will have to sit down with yourself and take a lot of time to identify, what is it that I hold right now that is going to be able to change the situation that I'm in? If that's currently, like, for example, you're out of work, there are loads of talents and skills that you have that can generate you income. If it's that you're looking to learn a new skill, you've learned things before. We all have. We don't have to continue formal education to learn things. You just have to take out the time and seek out the resources, many free resources, because YouTube is a big one, to learn new things. There is always something you can be doing with the skills and the resources that you have. Like, sometimes we get caught up in, I'm gonna wait for it to get better. If I was waiting for things to get better, guys, there would be no YouTube videos. Like, I've said this before, last year when I started YouTube, I was really, really happy, really, really excited, really, really optimistic. And my laptop has been giving me issues. As in, if you can hear a whooshing sound in the background, that's my laptop. And I actually stopped for a bit and was like, oh, when I get a new laptop, I'll jump back on. When I get a new this, when I get a new camera, when I get a... When. And it's just like, although those things are in my hands, I definitely have resources and tools that I can use right now to make this thing happen. So I went around and I found solutions that were going to help me to continue to be consistent on this YouTube channel. And now look, we've basically had a post every single week of this year. If I was waiting for things to get better, because I sure as heck don't have a new laptop, I don't. And I sold my other camera and I'm using my DJI Osmos Pocket 3. That's what I'm using at the moment to shoot all my videos. So if I was waiting for things to get better, we wouldn't have these. I wouldn't have the opportunity to have met so many new people. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to develop my craft and speaking to the camera and creating content and being consistent. So we cannot continue to wait. Everything you need to change your life, you have right now. It is just for you to sit down and take stock of what you have. Next one, and the final one for me, is that you are going to have to get to the root of your problems. As in, sometimes, and I always say this to friends, especially because with them, as I just said, I'm very solution focused. I just don't have this on myself. And I've had to implement the advice I give to others to me. But you are going to actually start addressing the root of your problems and not the symptoms. Sometimes we can get so caught up in addressing the symptoms. What are the things that are going on and the kind of fruit that is happening? So if something is produced, I'm not going to say bad fruit, because when we're talking about people's lives, there's not really bad fruit. But if you're producing results that you don't like, and it's consistent production of those results, just yanking those fruits from the tree doesn't actually stop that from producing those results. You need to get to the root. What is causing it? Is it bad soil? Is it lack of water? Again, using a plant analogy. Like, what is it? If we spin it around and we look at it, okay, if you keep getting this particular outcome in your life and you are tired of it, what is it that you need to change? I saw a really interesting TikTok, and it's something that I've personally said as well. Like, you are going to have to become the person that achieves the things that you want to achieve before you get them. So if you are seeing that you have an issue with time, beloved, get to the root of why you have an issue with time. I had an issue with time. I'm not one of those people that show up late consistently, but I knew that if I didn't plan well enough, I could be late. And it would be easy to say that, oh, that's just the way things are. People are going to have to get over the fact that I'm late to things. However, I had to get to the root of it. The root of my time blindness, 1, neurodivergence, but 2, I underestimate the time that it takes to do things, and I don't calculate properly. So I've created methodologies and strategies to be able to get to things on time, even early, because I can't stand being late, to the point now that my testimony with people is Mercy is going to get here early, or Mercy is going to arrive on time. If I was just addressing the symptoms of it and just saying this is just how it is, like, I would miss out on so many opportunities because I didn't address the root. The root is my calculation and my understanding of time. How do I change that? I actually put a strategy in place to change it. And that's what you have to do. You have to get really, really honest with yourself, and you have to look at the parts that you might see as ugly or unfavorable and the bits that just kind of hinder your progress, and say, I've had enough. I'm going to get to the root of this problem and I am going to solve it. And that in turn is going to shape your outputs and outcomes. So it's really, really important that we use these tips and these tricks to really address our mindset and our perspective, because a lot of the things that we are struggling and dealing with in life could actually be fixed if we just reframed the way that we look at it. it's not all doom and gloom. I get it. We live in a world where there's a lot going on, there's a lot happening. It's saddening and it's exhausting. But the things that we can control with our two hands, we need to do it. And that starts with reframing our mind. Don't see yourself as, oh, this is impossible. This is going to be hard for someone like me. Our family has never. Be the change that you want to see and reframe your mindset so you can get to the place that you need to be at. As always, if you enjoyed this and you've made it all the way to the end, I would really appreciate if you took some time to show that love by subscribing. I'm seeing that my stats are showing that a lot of people are watching my videos and they're not subscribing. But as I've given to you, I ask that you give back in a form of a like, a comment, and a subscribe as well. Drop a brown heart in the comments if you made it all the way to the end. I love you all dearly, and I will see you in my next video.